any idea how to communicate how crazy the news is after this bombshell report came out. But it is very obvious to me that craziness has erupted in Washington because Marjorie Taylor Greene has absolutely just announced that she is resigning from Congress effective in early January. Here is a statement that she made.
In the future, may God bless you. I refuse to be a battered wife, hoping it all goes away and gets better. If I am cast aside by the president and the MAGA political machine and replaced by neocons, big pharma, big tech, military-industrial war complex, foreign leaders, and the elite donor class that can never, ever relate to real Americans, then many common Americans have been cast aside and replaced as well. I'll be resigning from office with my last day being January 5th, 2026. And I look forward to seeing many of you again sometime in the future. May God bless you all, and may God bless America.
Absolutely insane. There is more. Here is another bit of the video that she released in the wake of resigning. This is crazy. I don't know what's happening. We'll discover it together, but I thought you should know, so we decided to go live, which is very rare on this channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe. But Marjorie Taylor Greene resigning from Congress after weeks of squabbling with Donald Trump. I can see your live chats. Thank you so much. We'll read them in a second. Here's more from MTG.
Through it all, I never changed or went back on my campaign promises and only disagreed in a few areas, like my stance against H-1Bs replacing American jobs, AI state moratoriums, debt for life 50-year mortgage scams, standing strongly against all involvement in foreign wars, and demanding the release of the Epstein files. Other than that, my voting record has been solidly with my party and the president. Loyalty should be a two-way street, and we should be able to vote our conscience and represent our district's interests because our job title is literally representative. America first should mean America first and only Americans first, with no other foreign country ever being attached to America first in our halls of government. Standing up for American women who were raped at 14 years old, trafficked and used by rich, powerful men should not result in me being called a traitor and threatened by the President of the United States, whom I fought for.
And she did a lot more than fight for him, by the way, I'll have you know, as evidenced by this video right. He's one of my favorites ever. Oh, that's not it. Here she is, Marjorie Taylor Greene. Oh gosh, I just had it a second ago. Here we go. This is it. I mean, when we first met Marjorie Taylor Greene, she was groping photos of the president, cardboard cutouts of the president. This is where she started, and now she is resigning after protesting as a protest, it seems, after being called out by that very same president for doing what? She mentions that she was calling him out for things like Israel, sure, and then specifically the Epstein files. This is something that has caused a major rift between her. She's one of the people that came on the Young Turks, talking about the Epstein file, something that Donald Trump ran on and then ran away from. What's crazy, though, now is that he has signed on to the release of the Epstein files. He has signed on to the release of the Epstein files, and she now is going away. There's more from the AP that we can start kind of trying to sift through to make some sense of this. But the AP runs Marjorie Taylor Greene, former Trump loyalist, says she's resigning from Congress. In a more than 10-minute video, which she posted online, she explained her decision and says she's, quote, always been despised in Washington, D.C., and never fit in, which is true. I have done a lot of this despising a lot of people who participate in the chat like I'm seeing right now. I'm seeing cyber bully saying, go blue Marge, a lot of blue hearts going on. I've seen people saying, no, no, no. She's seen Shump's name in the files. There's a lot of people speculating as to what this might be. She said her last day would be January 5th, which is hilarious. If she really wanted to be on the nose, I think she would delay a day. Don't you think? But it followed public fallout, as the AP reports, with Trump in recent months, as the Congresswoman criticized him for his stance on the files related to Jeffrey Epstein. Now, maybe Marjorie Taylor Greene is as smart as we all are, pointing out the fact that Donald Trump ran on this and then ran as far away from it as possible. What's ironic in this scenario is that had she resigned earlier, I think the numbers would have borne out. Oh no, she needed to stick around to get the Epstein files released. They were one vote short. And now that the deed is done, she's like, peace, this was too much. Her vote was necessary in the lead up to it because I don't know if you guys understand. A lot of people are like, why did they vote basically 50-50 against it? Why was that the vote count up until the last minute, until Grijalva came on to replace her father, someone that Johnson was trying to keep away from Congress so this could not come out. Once they realize in DC that they don't have the votes to win, that is why, according to many people, not just me, that is why a lot of us said, oh, Trump turned tail and changed his position so that people could essentially, so that he wouldn't be on the losing side of this. His hand was forced. Her last day would be January 5th. The White House did not immediately respond to a message seeking comment. She's one of the most vocal and visible supporters of Trump's Make America Great Again politics, and she embraced some of his unapologetic political style. Her break with him, according to the AP, was a notable fissure, but I want to see some of these things that he said. She said loyalty should be a two-way street, and we should be able to vote our conscience, as you saw this clip, and represent our district's interests because our job title is literally representative. It's nuts. And this is someone who, for those of you looking for analysis as to what Marjorie Taylor Greene represents, for a lot of us, the question is, does she, like in politics, when you see people take positions, you're like, does this person really mean it? Does this person really mean what they are saying? Or is she the kind of person who is out there essentially being like, all right, fine. I know what's politically expedient for me, and I'll do that thing. Marjorie Taylor Greene, for a lot of us, is like, she might just be that kind of person who gets swept up in all this stuff. She might be the kind of person who actually is genuinely on the side of whatever she's saying. And that's the kind of person that someone like Donald Trump preys on. He needs people who are dupes, who are gullible in his eyes, because they are losers and suckers who actually believe stuff. Now, for me, and I think Jenk said this on the Young Turks, essentially, like, I'll take someone who actually believes stuff and is genuinely a certain type of way 8 days a week, as opposed to a grifter who's only taking positions because they're forced into them. I think Marjorie Taylor Greene has some insane, horrible, deranged positions. She's called out various shows on TYT for being mean to her. And we've seen her take those positions. They're baddie. But there are things that she actually believes in that in one way or another overlap with what we believe here at this channel and at this network. And in those scenarios, a lot of us are like, I'll take it. It's nuts. It is crazy that I'll take it. But I'll take it because I actually do believe in getting the Epstein files out of there. So there's a lot more. People like MG2645 are saying in the comments right now, she wants more political power. And that's very possible. And that's something that will remain to be seen over the ensuing weeks and months in the lead up to this. Is she pursuing some other kind of can someone link in the chat, by the way, the full video of what she did? But essentially, I'm going to try to find it right now so we can respond to it, but it's insane. Some people like Angry Ann are saying she will run for governor. That's possible. It's very possible. Maybe she's looking for something like that, but maybe she is genuinely trying to take a stand. We don't know, but we really do want to find out. We want to see what happens. There are many things, as they say in Shakespeare, there are many things in the womb of time that shall be delivered. But this is nuts. There is so much out there that everybody is talking about. Okay, now we're going to get into the actual video, the statement of Marjorie Taylor Greene. But here is her 10-minute statement. And I think we're just going to kind of do a watch and react right now. So let's get into it. I'm going to share this screen. Here is our watch and react of Marjorie Taylor Greene's resignation video from Congress.
I've always represented the common American man and woman as a member of the House of Representatives, which is why I've always been despised in Washington, D.C., and just never fit in. Americans are used by the political industrial complex of both political parties, election cycle after election cycle, in order to elect whichever side can convince Americans to hate the other side more. And the results are always the same. No matter which way the political pendulum swings, Republican or Democrat, nothing ever gets better for the common American man or woman. The debt goes higher, corporate and global interests remain Washington's sweethearts, American jobs continue to be replaced, whether it's by illegal labor or legal labor by visas or just shipped overseas. Small businesses continue to be swallowed by big corporations. Americans' hard-earned tax dollars always fund foreign wars, foreign aid, and foreign interest. And the spending power of the dollar continues to decline. The average American family can no longer survive on a single breadwinner's income, as both parents have to work in order to simply survive.
So far, all I hear is I am running to be the next president of the United States. And this is a new lane that has appeared in politics in MAGA, looking at Trump and saying, okay, you showed up and stuff's not better. We don't think you're going to pursue a third term. So the earlier we can get in on saying we're the purest of the purest MAGA, the original message, like this is the sectarian violence we're seeing within the Republican Party, but she obviously wants to represent someone, and they see that the future of politics, according to Marjorie Taylor Greene right now, seems to be not based on party, but based on class. And she's saying, I've always represented the everyman. Trump is part of the establishment, but we'll hear more from her from a place where she's way too early putting up her Christmas decorations.
And today, many in my children's generation feel hopeless for their future and don't think they will ever realize the American dream. And that breaks my heart. I ran for Congress in 2020 and have fought every single day believing that Make America Great Again meant America first. I have one of the most conservative voting records in Congress, defending the First Amendment, Second Amendment, unborn babies, because I believe God creates life at conception, and I love to fight for the little guy. Strong, safe.
Ew. Fight for the. Oh my God. That is not what any of that means, madam.
Borders. I have fought hard for that. I fought against COVID tyrannical insanity and mandated mass vaccinations. And I've never voted to fund foreign wars with your hard-earned tax dollars.
This kind of thing just shows you what the bubble she represents is. Like, there's a lot of stuff in here that you and I, maybe by watching this, are like, listen, I don't want my money to go to things outside America that don't benefit everyday Americans. We get that. A lot of us are populist in our approach. A lot of us don't believe that like corporate interests are corrupt. We do believe that corporate interests are corrupting a lot of our politics. But then she throws in stuff like COVID denial. Essentially, that's what the code is that she's speaking. And that's where we're like, I think I'm in crazy town. It's like a bizarro version of what we believe that goes off the edge.
However, with almost 1 year into our majority, the legislature has been mostly sidelined. We endured an 8-week shutdown wrongly, resulting in the House not working for the entire time. And we are entering campaign season, which means all courage leaves and only safe campaign re-election mode is turned on in the House of Representatives. During the longest shutdown in our nation's history, I raged against my own speaker and my own party for refusing to proactively work diligently to pass a plan to save Americans' health care and protect Americans from outrageous, overpriced, and unaffordable health insurance policies. The House should have been in session working every day to fix this disaster. But instead, America was force-fed disgusting political drama once again from both sides of the aisle on television every single day. My bills, which reflect many of President Trump's executive orders, like calling for a new census counting Americans only to draw new districts, making English the official language of the U.S., making it a felony to medically trans a minor, and other bills like eliminating capital gains taxes on the sale of your primary home and eliminating H-1B visas just sit. They all sit collecting dust. That's how it is for most members of
And that's crazy because, like, that reminds a lot of people who are like, oh, Marjorie Taylor Greene seemed to want Congress to come back in session so they could prevent a lot of the healthcare premiums getting hiked up 10 times on poor people. A lot of folks are like, oh, Marjorie Taylor Greene is like cozy with the left and understands this thing. This is her version of it. But that said, it is politically beneficial for a lot of us to remember that, like, a vote's a vote, and there are ways to get her on our side with certain things. And the shutdown and averting the shutdown so that we can avert the health care premium rises, that was a worthy cause. But now she's kind of outlining that she's in crazy town. I do attacked Marjorie Taylor Greene. And this is leading to, I think, to this the bitter taste in her mouth. She wanted a sweet taste, a sweet, salty taste from Donald Trump when she was groping everything. But she says, I am withdrawing. He said, and this was recently, he was like, let me see what date it was. He spoke for a long time. But yeah, this was recently where he says, I'm withdrawing my support and endorsement for, quote, Congressman Marjorie Taylor Greene of the great state of Georgia over the past few weeks, despite my creating record achievements of our country, including a total and complete victory on the shutdown, closed borders, low tech, blah, 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 blah. I am just taking away my support from her. Oh my God, he talks for so long. She has told many people that she's upset that I don't return her phone calls anymore. But with this many children, because I fathered so many through my infidelity, I have a lot of other kids to call on Father's Day. I understand that wonderful conservative people are thinking about primarying Marjorie in the District of Georgia. Another calculation, when someone steps out, it's possible that that kind of person, when they do step away, has already made the polling inquiries necessary to determine that they will be kicked out of Congress. They won't win their primary. A lot of people back out preemptively for that reason. But then again, maybe she's trying to get into the governor's race because there is a populist surge within Georgia as a city. I just don't think with her statements that she's made recently that she's necessarily to listen to when it comes to that kind of a thing. Let's see what everybody else is saying. And again, like and share the stream, like and share this video. But this is a bombshell bit of news that we're all experiencing right now and watching the video that Marjorie Taylor Greene released announcing that she is resigning from Congress effective early January 5th. So there's people in this chat, and this is a channel that doesn't go live very often, and I do it. Schuster has done it a lot in the past. So like and subscribe. This is Rebel HQ. You get a lot of different opinions from people. Thank you so much for your contributions and viewership to making this really a juggernaut for TYT and for the left of center politics in general. This means allegedly they're redacting Trump's name from the files, and she has seen them do it. There's a lot of people that are claiming that kind of stuff. They think that she has seen the Epstein files. I think she's the kind of person who would share that kind of stuff immediately. It means nothing. She has done nothing, says Victor's Seafog. There's a lot of stuff going on in here. Let's hear more from Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Congress bills. The Speaker never brings them to the floor for a vote. Many common Americans are no longer easily convinced by paid political propaganda spokespersons and consultants on TV and paid shills on social media, obediently serving with cult-like conviction to force others to swallow the political party talking points. Because they know how much credit card debt they have, they know how much their bills have gone up over the past 5 years. They actually do their own grocery shopping and know food costs too much. Their rent has increasingly gone up and up. They have been outbid by corporate asset managers too many times when they put in an offer to buy a house. They have been laid off after being forced to train their Visa holding replacement. The college degree they were told to earn only left them in debt with no big six-figure salary. They see more homeless people than ever on their own community streets. They can't afford health insurance or practically any insurance, and they just aren't stupid. These are the people I represent and love because that is who all of my family and friends are, common Americans. I've been blessed to represent the 14th District of Georgia for 5 years. The district is filled with some of the most wonderful, kind-hearted, God-fearing, patriotic, hardworking people you will ever meet. good, regular, common Americans. I've worked hard to bring taxpayer dollars back home to help district needs. I impeached Biden's Secretary of Homeland after watching my constituents die as he facilitated dangerous open border invasion into America.
Amazing. I just don't know what your lane is at this point, lady. So I put a poll up right now. Marjorie Taylor Greene is resigning. Why? A, because it is her heartfelt conviction and her heartfelt beliefs. B, because she was going to lose re-election. Or C, she has something else lined up, $sign, $sign, $sign. So there's a lot of different angles you can attack this from, right? One, and this is just like overall political analysis of how operatives work, right? On the one hand, we've kind of outlined some of them because this is her heartfelt belief. B, because she was going to lose re-election, and C, because she has something else lined up. But if you're kind of a left of center political mover and shaker, or someone who's just interested in it, there's many ways you can frame this. You can say there's a civil war within the Republican Party right now, and there is no higher level indicator that that is the case than Marjorie Taylor Greene. Need I show you again that she 100% at some point has groped Donald Trump's statue? This person is no longer interested in, rubbing the photoshopped wiener of Donald Trump. That's one. The other thing is you can reach out and say, Marjorie Taylor Greene, why don't you join us? There's going to be some things we end up doing that are what the Lord would want. Jesus would want us to provide health care. I mean, if he's sending manna from heaven, would he not send some antibiotics to grandpa? Like, that's another way you can do it. I just don't know what we're going to do. Open a CrossFit gym. That's another thing that she might have. The media play. People are going to buy her book. She's going to go on Bill Maher. She'll be on the Sunday shows talking about this. And maybe, and I do think that she is the kind of person who's kind of a, quote, true believer in this. I just don't see it. Like, when we were at the Republican National Convention, we went to both conventions for TYT. Her boyfriend came up and says, we watch you guys all the time. We don't necessarily agree with you, but there is this lane of a lot of folks that are out there that aren't just saying, like, what's the party line on this? They're more saying, like, I just am genuinely interested in finding solutions for human beings in America so that they don't die or go bankrupt. And that's your only two options. But I don't know. Anyways, I think we've seen enough of it. I really do want to thank all of you for joining this stream. And also, we don't go live very often, but if you want to have up-to-date reporting on what is happening in all types of politics, we cover all kinds of things. So don't forget to like and subscribe right now. I do want to thank all of you so much for joining this. This has been absolutely fantastic. We got 5 more minutes of her video. So I'm going to share that again, and we'll watch.
Yeah. And I led the effort to defund hard left politically biased NPR and PBS and the corrupt USAID, and I did that as chair of the DOJ subcommittee. I have fought harder than almost any other elected Republican to elect Donald Trump and Republicans to power.
So that is more toward the narrative of us pointing out there is a huge rift in the Republican Party. Donald Trump has lost the MAGA base. He has lost the MAGA base. And to further rub dirt in their eye today, like I have an aunt who posted Plan A for New York was 9/11. Plan B is Zoran Mamdani. Like essentially saying Zoran Mamdani is a jihadist attacking America. But today in the White House, Zoran Mamdani and Trump were elbowing each other like, hey, buddy, what a good plan. Oh, that was cool when you called me a jihadist. Oh, that was cool when you called me a fascist. That's the next game for Donald Trump. It looks like he's trying to get people to come along with him. But if you are a MAGA person who thinks that Zoran Mamdani is a communist fascist, which I think it's pretty safe to say that that is what Marjorie Taylor Greene is in the camp of and represents, and you were all these other things that MAGA was all about. Marjorie Taylor Greene is picking up that mantle and saying, I am the next iteration of this. I said it loudest and I said it first. It seems like that's her political play. Or she knew she couldn't win re-election. Those are the things.
I traveled the country for years. I spent millions of my own money. I missed precious time with my family that I can never get back. And I showed up in places like outside the New York courthouse in Collect Pond Park against a raging leftist mob as Trump faced Democrat lawfare.
I love statements like this. It's like, so just know I am a right-wing psychopath. This is not coming from a left-wing psychopath or a reasonable person. I am a zealot. And even I think Trump has lost the plot.
Meanwhile, most of the establishment Republicans who secretly hate him and who stabbed him in the back and never defended him against anything have all been welcomed in right after the election. And I will never forget the day I had to leave my mother's side as my father had brain surgery to remove cancerous tumors in order to fly to Washington, D.C. to defend President Trump and vote no against the Democrats' second impeachment in 2021. My poor father and my poor mother, it was way too much for all of us. Through it all, I never changed or went back on my campaign promises and only disagreed in a few areas, like my stance against H-1Bs replacing American jobs, AI state moratoriums, debt for life 50-year mortgage scams, standing strongly against all involvement in foreign wars, and demanding the release of the Epstein files.
So right there, that is a laundry list. She's saying, like, I agree with Trump on everything else. Here's what I disagree with him on. And in disagreeing with him, I found people hated me for it. And because of that, she is saying I'm leaving. So that is the area. She represents a good number of people in the of quote right-wing populists. That is the playing field on which to win their support, not their love. And there's a lot of people wondering, like, oh, how did we lose on the left for this kind of stuff? Well, it seems like a lot of left-wing populists saw a lot of these kinds of things and were like, I don't know, give it a shot on that side, because I think my side is now a bunch of establishment sellouts. I'm not saying that's true, but that was the calculus, the political calculus for a lot of people.
Other than that, my voting record has been solidly with my party and the president. Loyalty should be a two-way street, and we should be able to vote our conscience and represent our district's interests because our job title is literally representative. America first should mean America first and only Americans first, with no other foreign country ever being attached to America first in our halls of government.
That is an attack on Israel.
Standing up for American women who were raped at 14 years old, trafficked and used by rich, powerful men should not result in me being called a traitor and threatened by the president of the United States, whom I fought for. However, while
if you're going to say whom, you shouldn't say whom I fought for. You should say for whom I fought. Like, if you're going to put your toes in the water of grammar Nazism, as you kind of put your toes in the water of actual Nazism, you should at least say for whom I fought.
yes, hurtful, my heart remains filled with joy, my life is filled with happiness, and my true convictions remain unchanged because my self-worth is not defined by a man, but instead by God who created everything in existence.
That weird smile you get when you got to this part of what you read, you're like, I'm going to smile when that happens.
You see, I have never valued power, titles, or attention in spite of all the wrong assumptions about me. I do not cling to those things because they are meaningless and empty traps that hold too many people in Washington. I believe in term limits and do not think Congress should be a lifelong career or an assisted living facility. My only goal and desire has ever been to hold the Republican Party accountable for the promises it makes to the American people and put America first. And
this is a dating profile for anyone seeking to get a populist movement in America. It's support. You know, she has a lot of ways to, quote, make it happen she disagrees with. But in terms of opposing an existing president, that is a dating profile. You want me? Here's what you got to support. Stopping AI from taking jobs. Okay. Releasing the Epstein list. Got it. Don't be so mean to me, which she literally asked the damage report to be like, John, stop being so mean to me. Okay. This stuff's nice. You make a pretty Christmas tree. I'd want a thicker one, but I understand space constraints. But yeah, sure. Sure. I'm not going to say I love you because there's some stuff you've already said in this video that makes my skin crawl.
I fought against Democrats' damaging policies like the Green New Deal, wide open, deadly, unsafe border policies, and the trans agenda on children and against women. With that has brought years of nonstop, never-ending personal attacks, death threats, lawfare, ridiculous slander, and lies about me that most people could never withstand even for a single day. It has been unfair and wrong, not only to me, but especially to my family. but it's been wrong to my district as well. I have too much self-respect and dignity. I love my family way too much, and I do not want my sweet district to have to endure a hurtful and hateful primary against me by the president that we all fought for, only to fight and win my election while Republicans will likely lose the midterms, and in turn be expected to defend the president against impeachment after he hatefully dumped tens of millions of dollars against me and tried to destroy me. It's all so absurd and completely unserious. I refuse to be a battered wife, hoping it all goes away and gets better.
So
if I am cast aside by the president and the MAGA political machine and replaced by neocons, big pharma, big tech.
So people in this video, in this chat, are saying that she's going to be a Fox News chick. Do you think Fox would hire her at the risk of offending Donald Trump, who just dumped her?
Military-industrial war complex, foreign leaders, and the elite donor class that can never, ever relate to real Americans, then many common Americans have been cast aside and replaced as well. There is no plan to save the world or a 4D chess game being played. When common American people realize and understand that the political industrial complex of both parties is ripping this country apart, that not one elected leader like me is able to stop Washington's machine from gradually destroying our country, and instead the reality is that they, common Americans, the people, possess the real power over Washington, then I'll be here by their side to rebuild it.
So the only real branch or vine she can swing to at this point is probably Tucker Carlson, because he's saying basically all this stuff. And maybe, who knows, they've had a conversation where he's egged her toward this, because this is his gambit. His gambit is right-wing populism, which sounds a lot like left-wing populism until you ask whose fault it is and how you should fix it in terms of healthcare.
Until then, I'm going back to the people that I love, to live my life to the fullest, as I always have, and I look forward to a new path ahead. I'll be resigning from office, with my last day being January 5th, 2026, and I look forward to seeing many of you again sometime in the future. May God bless you all, and may God bless America.
Amazing. Thank you guys so much for watching. At the end, I want everybody, we almost got to 1,000 likes on this stream. So thank you so much for participating. There will no doubt be many more videos on this channel that outline the fallout, the reactions, the next steps and calculations. So don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time right here on Rebel HQ. Thank you so much. And don't forget to look at my playlist. Mostly I cover the manosphere, but this was too good to refuse. Bye.